Hi, it's Technoliot. I gotta start today's video with my apology, cause I promised you guys my review of Galaxy Z Fold 5 way back and it took me 2 months to publish this. This device has a lot more to talk about than I thought, and I would like to start today's review like this. In economics, there's something called monopoly. Only one seller in the market with high barriers to entry. Technically, there isn't monopoly in the foldable smartphone market, but that's almost what a foldable smartphone market was for the past 5 years in the US. The US foldable smartphone market just got out of the monopolistic situation because now there is Google's Pixel Fold and OnePlus's Open. But look at this pie chart. Samsung has shipped more than half of foldable smartphones in the first half of 2022, and if you wanted to buy a book-type foldable smartphone in the US, you had only one option, which was Galaxy Z Fold until Google's Pixel Fold came out. This data might have made Samsung a bit more relaxed on making significant steps in their foldable smartphone journey. And I think Samsung actually got relaxed this year with their Z Fold 5, but in the right direction, by focusing more on user experience. First, let's talk about the weight and size. Z Fold 5 is lighter and thinner than Z Fold 4 from last year. It got 10 grams lighter, which doesn't sound like a huge difference, but it's not hard to notice either. The real super noticeable change happened on the thickness. Z Fold 5 is almost 2mm thinner, and you can easily see the improvement. And these changes on both weight and size was possible due to the new hinge. Samsung completely redesigned and re-engineered the hinge to make it lighter and smaller without compromising its durability. With the new updated hinge, Fold 5 practically doesn't have any gap when it's folded. There's still a little bit of gap, but it's hardly noticeable unless I really try to see it. The phone looks way better this way because having almost no gap gives fully finished product vibe. And that's how the Z Fold 5 got slimmer, by minimizing the gap between the main displays with the new hinge. Samsung removed some parts in the hinge without compromising structural integrity, and it feels sturdy and reliable. I found the Fold 5 a bit harder to open than Fold 4 because the hinge is holding the main display tightly with the help of magnets on the cover frame. Once it's open, there's no resistance until 120 degrees, and the resistance continues until there's a little kick at the end. Although there's no resistance below 120 degrees, you can tilt the phone any angle you want. You can use the phone like this, and you don't need any stand to keep the phone tilted. And you can still control the phone using bottom half screen. This is flex mode, and according to Samsung's website, this mode will be enabled between 75 and 115 degrees, but when I tested this, it actually works at any angle. This clever feature gives a completely new user experience, and this new way of interacting with your phone makes so much sense on this form factor. In real-life usage, this is so convenient and useful for watching contents on YouTube, web browsing, and taking photos when you don't have a smartphone stand. And the display is fantastic and super bright, just like any other flagship Samsung phones. The inner main display is 120Hz dynamic AMOLED 2X, and peak brightness is 1750 nits. And the cover display is also 1750 nits. This number is 500 nits higher than Z Fold 4, and it is actually noticeably brighter. I had no issue with reading, watching, or playing games outside on a sunny day. It also comes with a new updated M12 OLED stack that was used on iPhone 14 Pro models and 15 series. The result is not only brighter display, but also more vivid and accurate color. All in all, the overall performance and quality is noticeably improved. However, crease doesn't seem to improve that much, or at least it's still here and you can see it quite easily. Now that we have OnePlus Open, which has far less noticeable crease, Fold 5's crease is something that is hard to digest because OnePlus also uses Samsung's foldable display. It's a kind of bit mystery why Samsung couldn't or maybe didn't do as much as OnePlus did to minimize the crease. My guess is it's probably because of different hinge design. Nonetheless, I think it won't be a deal breaker because although it's something that you cannot unsee once you see it, the 7.6-inch main display is so very good. It makes us fully enjoy the contents through a terrific viewing experience rather than spotting the crease and get annoyed by it. And both cover and main display are LTPO display, meaning it can dynamically change the refresh rate. The main display can lower the refresh rate down to 1 Hz. However, the cover display slows down to only 48 Hz. I wish the cover display could go down to 1 Hz because I found myself using cover display a lot more than I thought. I think this is because of the aspect ratio. It has unusually tall aspect ratio, which is 22:9, and it feels so narrow and tall when I use it with one hand. The width of this phone is so narrow, coming in only 67mm or 2.6 inch, it is so easy to grab with one hand. I cannot reach the top part of the cover display with one hand, but when I put my favorite app icons on the right place, it's extremely easy to control this device with only one hand. Also, the cover display is pretty good for any tasks except for gaming or watching videos for an extended period of time, so I can do most of the stuff on the cover display without having to open the device. Therefore, I think Samsung should have put LTPO display that slows down to 1 Hz because lowering refresh rate saves battery. What do you think about this? Or if you already have Galaxy Z Fold 5, how often do you use the cover display compared to the main one? Do you open your Fold a lot more than you thought or less than you thought? Thank you for asking, and let me know in the comment section below. And there's this thing called taskbar, which can be a serious productivity monster and a smart way to utilize the bottom of the main display for multitasking. You can enable this feature in the settings under display, and when it's enabled, you can immediately jump to recently opened apps by one simple tap without having to swipe left or right until you get what you want. You can put up to 4 most recently used apps on the taskbar, so if you flip back and forth a lot among 3 or more apps, this is a cool and convenient feature for a quick access to the app you want to open. Also, drag and drop to open an app in an independent window is possible with this feature, so you can be a multitasking grandmaster if you know how to use this feature properly. And if you don't like how it looks when it's floating on the bottom of the display, you can hide it by simply tapping anywhere on the bottom of the display. You can reverse this by tapping the bottom again. And the camera. The rear camera has 3 lenses, 50 megapixel for main, 10 megapixel for telephoto, and 12 megapixel for ultra-wide. The main lens is not the best and the latest from Samsung, but it still captures pretty decent image as well as other lenses. It's a bummer that we don't get the best of the best camera on the most expensive phone from Samsung, but I think people who buy this phone probably buy this to get the foldable experience, not the best camera on the smartphone. Anyways, it would have been nicer if Z Fold 5 had the same camera system as S23 Ultra, but we gotta note that camera is not the main selling point of this product. And for the selfie camera, there's a 4 megapixel sensor under the display and it's almost completely invisible when it's hidden, but it appears magically when you open the camera app in selfie mode. The photo from this under the display camera is horrible, so Samsung should improve this in the future. There's one more selfie camera on the cover screen with a 10 megapixel sensor which captures a par for the course 10 megapixel selfie photo. Usually I use selfie camera to take a selfie, but with this foldable form factor, I can take selfie differently. With cover screen preview on, I can use the cover screen as a viewfinder and I get the biggest viewfinder on smartphones on a superb display. Moreover, This allows you to use the rear camera for a selfie shot, which means your selfie shot using this feature will look amazing. It's way better than the under-display camera or selfie camera on the cover display. I think this is a very useful feature for anyone who wants to have a superb selfie without guessing what they look like in the photo. As for the battery, Z Fold 5 comes with 4400 mAh battery, which is not the greatest battery in the foldable, but it's still a decent one. The battery is smaller than the competitors on the spec sheet, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not as good as Pixel Fold or OnePlus Open. In fact, the battery life on Z Fold 5 is pretty good, but for some people, it may not be good enough. The thing is, when you max out brightness of the main display and use it a lot, it literally drains the battery quite quickly. I actually have never felt confident that this phone will last for a day for me when I watch YouTube or Netflix at a maximum brightness for a long time. It feels like the display consumes a lot more battery than I expected. Your mileage may vary, depends on how you use it, but for me, it isn't enough. And there's one unique thing that Galaxy Z Fold 5 has and other foldables don't have, and that is the dedicated stylus. The S Pen is not included in the box and it's sold separately for $55 on Samsung's website. You will get the pen in a small sleeve, so you need to take both phone and the sleeve with the pen in it when you go outside. This is cumbersome, so I recommend this Samsung-made case. This case comes with a built-in S Pen on its back, and although it adds a bit of weight and thickness to the phone, but it allows you to carry the S Pen with Z Fold 5 quite conveniently. The S Pen slot is almost flat because the S Pen has flat shape, so in real life, that bumped area doesn't bother at all. Overall, it is well made and definitely useful if you want to carry the S Pen anywhere you go. It's a bit pricey, coming in $65 even when it's on sale, but if you need or want to use the S Pen with your Z Fold 5, this is the right case for you. And while the S Pen works on the main display, it doesn't work on the cover display. I'd really appreciate instant note-taking experience on the cover display, and it's not fully functioning S Pen like the one on S23 Ultra. You don't have to charge the S Pen, but that means it cannot do some stuff that battery-powered S Pen can, like air actions to control camera. To use air actions on Z Fold 5, you gotta buy slightly bigger and more expensive S Pen, the S Pen Pro. The S Pen Pro costs $68 when it's on sale, so it's almost the same as the Slim Pen case. And I was wondering whether I can use S23 Ultra's S Pen on Z Fold 5, and it turns out I can't. The phone shows pop-up notice about possible damage when not using the S Pen that is specifically designed for Z Fold 5. So if you want to take a full advantage of S Pen, buy S Pen Pro. I like that Samsung came up with the practical case to carry both Fold 5 and S Pen together, but I also gotta say it would be much better if there was a slot for the S Pen inside the phone. Having a built-in S Pen in the device like S23 Ultra expands user experience by a mile for those who need a stylus every day. I've looked into this, but unfortunately, according to many sources, making an S Pen slot in the Fold series is not a priority at Samsung. They are more focused on making it lighter and thinner than making an S Pen slot in the phone. So Z Fold 6 that we will see next year won't have a built-in S Pen. This review is almost at the end, and I intentionally didn't mention anything about the processor of Z Fold 5 in today's review because there isn't much thing to talk about. I will make it short. Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy is a custom processor that is slightly overclocked than the regular 8 Gen 2. It's blazing fast and highly reliable, so you wouldn't be disappointed at all. It handles every task you throw at it because the chip is the performance king. And this packed foldable device comes with a pretty hefty price tag, $1,800 for the base 256 gigs model. It is retailer suggested price, and in my opinion, it's not totally ideal to pay the full price because it's just way too much money for a single device. With this amount of money, you can buy a Galaxy S23 Ultra which has far better camera system, Galaxy Buds Pro 2, and Galaxy Watch 6. Or if you're an Apple user, you can buy an iPhone 15 Pro, AirPods Pro, and the Apple Watch Series 9. If I have to make a choice, realistically speaking, I'd rather get a candy bar type flagship phone with the noise cancelling ear set and the smartwatch. But that doesn't mean Z Fold 5 is a bad phone to buy or super overpriced. Maybe a little bit. Luckily and usually, Galaxy Z series goes on a decent sale pretty quick after its launch because the year-end sale season is just 4 months after the Z series' launch. For example, on this year's Black Friday, the price has slashed by 28% on Amazon to $1,300. And this is pretty nice deal. In my opinion, Galaxy Z Fold 5 is totally worth every penny at this price. You get the state-of-the-art foldable phone from Samsung, who basically makes almost all the foldable displays at the moment. Their software update is reliable and on time, is a major brand, and ships more than half of the foldable smartphones in USA. So there's nothing to complain about this phone if you are getting the best foldable phone at around this $1,300 price. I wish it had a better battery life since I always drain the battery pretty fast. That's just me, and Air Action support for the Slim S Pen would give a lot better experience when we take a photo. A built-in S Pen won't happen next year on Z Fold 6, so if you're delaying your purchase because you think there's gonna be a built-in S Pen next year, getting Z Fold 5 this year at a discounted price could be a better choice. You get to use a well-engineered foldable smartphone with stunning displays both inside and outside that can be a small tablet with a stylus pen. I mean, if you buy the S Pen. And that's it. That's the end of review of Galaxy Z Fold 5. Thank you for watching my video today, and I will see you guys later. See ya!